Joshua's not here, innit? So.
I'm even going back to
Shout out to you, Joshua, bro.
in the beginning. You said Hajim not Ippo, innit? I wanted to talk about Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Like,
That's a big thing.
Talk to him.
I first and foremost, we are recording this at a point where the next mandatory fight for Tyson is a rematch with Wilder. Watching this at a time where Anthony Joshua still has to have a fight, and then given that they both win, they're gonna clash. Was it early this year or early next? Sorry, late this year or early
next year.
Next year.
It was supposed to be Wilder and Fury.
December.
No, Wilder and Fury was supposed to have their
July.
Yeah, and then Joshua was supposed to fight Pulev, and then their man was supposed to do it early next
they
year.
run it back.
Yeah, you're familiar? Go up to boxing, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So who you guys got? Joshua Fury.
We know who to say. No, we all know who to say. But can Joshua win it? Is what you want to ask. Is a better question.
That's a better question.
First and foremost, big up AJ in it. If you're an anime fan, hit us up, jump on our podcast, all of that good stuff. But according to Haj, not Ippo in it, yeah. Let's just talk about
Hoofed.
the better fighter versus the more technical fighter.
That's Tyson both, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, better fighter. Quickly, hit that mouse for me. Better fighter versus the Wilder fighter. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's even we need to talk about Tyson and Wilder first. Do you feel like there's even a conversation there?
But better fighter, technical fighter is all Tyson.
Like, I think
hence the result.
Sorry, I didn't mean. I meant
Who do you mean?
brawler. Sorry, not even better.
Okay.
Sorry, I meant the brawler or the technical fighter. Because I want to quickly dive into.
Yeah. No. I hear you. I feel like overall, for boxing heads, they would say, in my opinion, I think Fury. Everyone knows Fury.
It's
like,
Fury.
He's
He's
had
the
more
man to
amateur.
beat.
Yeah, he's had more amateur fights. He's like. Do you know what I mean? He calls himself a traveller as well, so you know the type of stuff he's about. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I tried to touch it, but
Check it.
we'll keep it going, and I'll put it back on as we talk. I personally think it's Tyson has shown his growth.
So just real quick, I'm gonna go back to when I said let's talk about AJ and Tyson. Should we go back to that?
Yeah.
Because I actually wanted to talk about Takamura versus. I know you don't talk about it, so I'm not gonna.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
I'm gonna talk about
Takamura versus Eagle or
Hawk. Isn't it? Wait, yeah, Hawk,
Eagle.
Hawks.
Eagle. Oh, Hawk, the black dude.
Hawk, the
Yeah,
black
yeah.
dude, innit?
Woo!
Black-
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And
What's
it's
that fight?
I'm not gonna get to the black thing too tough.
What a madness that was.
But alright, let's go. Yeah, we've got to talk about Fury versus Wilder first, I believe, before we could even jump the gun, because I don't know. We've seen that in boxing anything can happen, and we know that Wilder, even though he got worked, he is still the one punch wonder.
100%.
Like that one punch could
Bronze
change
bomber.
the game. So it's like, are we now dismissing that because of the beating that he took?
100. I am personally.
I think
Word.
Tyson has shown he can rise above it.
Yeah.
He took it, got back
Took
up,
it, got back
Yeah.
out.
and then he said, "Okay, cool. You're not doing that ever again."
Bro,
and
can
that
you-
was it.
Fam, can you,
Never again.
Can you
That's
imagine in
it.
a fight, you do your strongest ultimate move and they get back up, bro? Yeah,
it's
you're
mad.
done.
On some full anime shit like
Yeah,
the power of the gypsies.
Can you imagine doing
were,
a spirit bomb and they get back up?
a real Freezer
Regenerate again, fam.
like Freezer come
fuck
out.
that
That was
shit.
a bit annoying. I've got a niche on my back now.
Yeah,
That's
man.
mad.
And he stood up with vim as well. I don't know if you saw it. He
And
straight up.
he came to win the round.
Yeah.
So it's like, I
Bro,
get what
if
you're
I'm him, I'm
saying.
like, I don't know what's happening
to win
there.
the
But I
round,
feel
you know.
like in this time, especially this time where you've lost, I feel like losing makes you 10 times better. AJ versus Ruiz too.
Yeah.
Losing does do something, and we cannot negate that from the fact that Wilder lost, and there was work to be done, and I feel like that type of focus.
Wilder might come back a bit better because
Nah,
Wilder's
he will.
always
Wilder
got a
will
shot.
come back
He
better.
He's always got a
What
shot.
about Fury though? Is this his peak as well? Can he come back better? That's what people aren't really
He's
talking
shown
about.
that he can always go up a level.
No, but and
Has
that's
he
what I'm
not?
trying to say. I feel like boxing, especially I feel like what is shown through Hajim no Ippo as well. You have the pinnacle of boxing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you see that with
Ricardo
Takamura,
Martinez.
Takamura versus Hook,
Yeah.
where you have very two very good technical boxers that fight. Not Hook, Eagle.
I told you.
Yes,
Eagle.
yes. Two very technical boxers that fight on par,
Yeah.
that fight equally, that
Where
fight
they're just
respectively.
clashing, and
Yeah,
it's
where
just
they're
about
clashing.
culture, morale, and mentality.
And don't forget, there is when you get to that level of boxing, as illustrated in the anime, and I feel like in life as
very
well,
simple.
it is very. There's no stronger boxer anymore. There's no better boxer. It's the conditioning on the day.
Yeah.
You reckon? So
Yes,
is that
it's
how
the
you feel
mindset on the day, and I feel like if AJ, that's why AJ versus Tyson Fury, I feel like they had the pinnacle of boxing in terms of smartness and physique and strength and stamina. It's about what they do on the day, the mental game on the day, the
Wilder,
physical.
I think
with Wilder, I feel like during this time of after the loss, he might be able to get close and get into that realm of being at the pinnacle, where it's no longer about skill and strength, but how you come on the day.
I think if he humbles himself and understands that punch is his ticket into that realm. You understand?
Okay.
I think he has to put himself into a position where now he can actually win, because he's not when he enters the ring. Yeah, when he enters the ring, Tyson Fury not only can take his punch, and is probably trained to take his punch, he can also outbox him, outmove him, out a lot of things. So, but as we know, when you get a good shot, 1 or 2 good shots, now everything slows down. We're in a different ballpark now, and I think that's the case. I don't think AJ has the ability to do that turnaround kind of. Even though he might have a strong punch, it's not Wilder. It's not doing anything like that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing he can do. I really feel there's nothing he can do. That can actually take him. I'm pretty sure I'll take bets that Tyson Fury will win.
Oh, 100%.
Against Joshua.
If we're talking about Tyson Fury and Wilder 3, honestly, I don't see anything changing, man.
Yeah,
because like he
too
actually
good.
battered him, bro.
And you know,
it wasn't even a close fight. It was a battery.
And you know why I've changed? I was so obviously.
I don't know, man.
I like to support my brothers, so I'm here.
Yeah.
No matter whatever scenario, I put Tyson Fury at the bottom. Not only because he's had such a troubled past. There's so many reasons to say he's not going to beat them. He's been in his prime. He's long. He's still there, fresh. They're both fresh in there. There's so many reasons to say Tyson's gonna lose.
Should have lost. Yeah.
But now he's at a point where he's like, just imagine. He never had to deal with the depression, the drugs, all of it. None of those things. Would these guys even be that relevant?
Yeah.
You understand? So it's a crazy world. I really feel Tyson showing that he could beat Wilder and, then beat him very well.
Yeah.
Illustrates that he's not in a different class, but he is the best.
Yeah. Because I remember me and you, we had this argument. I remember like the first fight, Tyson, Fury and Wilder. I remember you were saying that. I think it was on a Team Wilder, innit? And then for the rematch as well, Team Wilder. Even AJ Ruiz, I remember you was on Ruiz as well, innit?
So for the rematch?
Yeah.
No, I was definitely on AJ still.
Definitely,
the thing is though, like, people forget as well, the first fight where it was a draw, AJ won. Tyson Fury won.
I think so.
Do you know what I mean? And he wasn't even his prime. Yeah. He literally just came off like a 2-year layoff.
Imagine.
And did that.
And two fights. Of two.
Yeah, warm-up fight.
Not
to the high level, though. Do you know what I mean?
Who's Wilder been fighting? Wilder's just been fighting warm-ups. What are you talking about?
Bums, bro. Bums.
But what I'm saying is Wilder's prime.
Wilder's definitely prime. Bro.
Boxing, everyone knows boxing conditioning and fighting is different. Yeah. And then there's boxing at the highest level. Yeah. That's a steep curve.
Yeah.
So I feel like I would have liked him to have maybe 2 more. And then if he came into that fight, there's no debate about who's winning.
And also as well, people don't know this. Wilder's 36. Fury's turning, I think, 31 or 32. There's no way in hell that for Wilder's next match with Fury, he can now learn years upon years of experience. You could even argue he's now on a decline. He's at 36. Yeah. The only thing keeping him going is his insane amount of power. Do you get what I mean?
Well, I feel like you're definitely forgetting that like black people to some extent age differently, innit? Again, I'm not trying to say black people.
Fury's a boxer though, so you could.
No. Makeup is so different.
Blacks don't crack, baby.
Wilder's moving like he's 25.
Facts. But the only thing is to counter that is like Fury's not your average white guy, innit? He's a boxer.
Different.
And he's the peak of the peak.
Exactly.
He's an exception to the norm.
He's conditioned, innit?
Sure.
And now with Fury and AJ, it's definitely going to be a closer fight than Fury and Wilder, 100%.
Yeah. Because my thing is
that technical pocket. Yeah. Now my thing is like overall, I think Fury is the better boxer, but as I've said on a previous episode, it's like it gets to a point where you've got a team, innit? For example, I support Liverpool. It don't matter who they're fighting, who they're playing against. Liverpool's my team. That's how I see it with AJ and Fury. It doesn't matter, even though he's up against someone that I can objectively say is a better fighter than him in terms of Fury. AJ's still my guy, so I'm riding for him and I'm gonna back him. Hopefully he can do it because I think he can. We've seen Fury can get dropped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? by Wilder. He's been dropped. I think AJ can drop him. Whether he will, I don't know. He has the power to do so.
My thing is, I don't think AJ ever, like, I know no boxer ever wants to lose, but the reception AJ got when he lost to Ruiz,
the world was. I woke up. I felt different.
Horrible.
Still.
Everyone turned on him, right? And I think that as you say, after you lose, your psyche changes. If Joshua's has changed the way based on what's happened to him when he lost, if he's just changed based on what's happened there, his mentality, as you're saying, on the day of the fight is going to be absolutely different because he's going into a fight that he doesn't have necessarily a straight, clear-cut way to win. It's now mentality and how I have to give.
I feel like that's how he went in with Parker. Still.
Yeah, I agree. I have to give 180% now to beat this guy. There's no way I'm ever gonna go into that pocket again.
No, fact.
He's probably scared, senseless of it.
And you're right. I think the point you made in terms of personally, AJ losing to Reeves was the best thing that could ever happen to him, man.
100%.
Because it's made him a 10 times better fighter. So him now going to Fury, I think he's not going to have that clairvoyance or that arrogance about him.
He can't.
Because that loss is now taken.
Especially after he dropped Wilder.
Exactly, but imagine the AJ that would have gone into the Fury fight that hadn't lost to Ruiz.
I'm going for the knockout.
Can you imagine?
I'm not going for the win.
Can you imagine?
The knockout.
Exactly. But now you've got an AJ that has lost to Ruiz, that has been humbled, that now arguably has a stronger mindset. Whether it's stronger than Tyson Fury, we're yet to see.
That's the thing.
So
it's going to be nice because we saw him fall from the top. We've seen him fall from the top from someone I believe lesser than AJ. That took him off the top. So what we're saying now is he going to fall from the top? It's very easy. He has to show now that he's surpassed his old self and gotten to another level where he can sustain greatness against the greatest in the world.
The reason why I bring this up, because obviously you mentioned that Hajime no Ippo is one of your favourite animes.
Always will be.
I know we're here at AniMates podcast, you're thinking, wow, we're talking about boxing for so long, but we're going to tie it in perfectly. I just wanted to short discussion about how within Hajime no Ippo and within the anime community, how they portray the Western world, how they portray race, how they portray the elite levels within sports, and then how they integrate their culture into that. So, for example, one thing I love about Hajime no Ippo is because they know that Japan isn't necessarily the strongest outlet for boxers in a world stage. But so what they do, they introduce for those that haven't seen Hajime no Ippo, they introduce all of the fighters on a Japanese scale. 100%. So it's Japanese junior fights, Japanese senior fights, Japanese championships. So it allows them to build the world on a smaller scale. But then when you get the bigger fights, bring over the US, bring over these people here. And how important to you is it that they portray, Hajime no Ippo portrays boxing in the light in which we're talking about it now, that we've talking about, for example, heavyweight champions like AJ, Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. How is it important for them to portray it as it is in our culture?
I think it's very important because as people from the Western world that like indulge and really love and I love Ippo from the core of its core. I know how much effort and detail and structure they've put into understanding the world of boxing. Even though he might know quite a lot, the creator of Ippo might know quite a lot. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of effort he's had to put in to educate himself on, Muhammad Ali's boxing style or, Jack Dempsey's boxing style to put into Ippo. He's put all of those hours in to kind of do those things. And I feel it's only right to put the same for a lot of the biggest part of now the series. Ippo goes on to face a lot of fighters from other places in the world, and so does Takamura. And I think being able to illustrate them in the correct way is so key. When one thing I kind of liked when they brought in Eagle was they kind of showed the hometown benefit you can have as a boxer. So obviously Takamura was in Japan. He had literally everyone putting all of beyond the whole of Japan's hopes were on this guy's shoulder, and he obviously is built of different kinds of stuff because he just took that in stride and it actually helped him get over the hump. It wasn't that he was so much faster, so much technical, so much stronger. No, at the end of it, he resorted to his raw ability and the faith and trust people have put into him, and that's a lot what they illustrate in the Japanese animation of having the spirit, the strength, the mental fortitude to get past those physical differences, to get past the lack of experience against high quality fighters, which I think is a great way to kind of sidestep the fact that, you know, Japanese on the world stage are not recognized too worldly as the best fighters. Yeah. So I think they do a good job.
They did a very, very good job.
They've done a great job.
Because KB, I was going to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
In terms of, for example, anime like Crocodile Basket, which we know NBA seems to be the biggest platform for basketball worldwide, even though we have European leagues, even though we have probably leagues in Asia and stuff like that. How important do you think it would be for someone like a series like Kuroko to acknowledge the impact of basketball globally and not just represent it as a Japanese school thing?
Do
you feel like they do that? Do you feel like they?
Yeah, I feel like they hint at it.
Though.
They hint at it in it in terms of what you're
shoes.
saying is good in terms of like it would be nice if they implement it because it makes it more realistic. Do you know what I mean? Some people, not me personally, but some people are drawn to sports animes because of how realistic it is to them. For example, you and Prince said that you resonate more with Kuroko than Haikyuu simply because you play basketball.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? Someone that probably plays volleyball might resonate more with Haikyuu because they don't play basketball. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or some people, they actually are drawn to the sport simply because they've got powers, for example.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Some people like Kuroko. Me personally, I fuck with Kuroko because they got powers. They got shit that makes it over dramatic. They got shit that you wouldn't normally see in a real life game, innit? People fuck with that.
We need a football anime real quick.
Trust me.
There's a lot.
So,
don't do that. Don't do
that.
that.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you should know anime when it's bears.
Not done.
I don't mean like 5 aside. I know like there's like 5 aside, 6 aside, 7 aside type animes that do that. I'm like proper 11.
No, I get you.
Defenders, strikers, left backs.
They
facts, bro.
I don't like they've tried it and they've put some effort into it, and there is some ones there, some football animes in there, but the energy they put into say Kuroko, Haikyuu, or Ippo, if they done that with a good football, there's so much source material.
It's actually over.
Especially in Japan.
Is that the access
they love football
to the geezers down Old Trafford?
That might
to get into anime.
Possibly
that might
so,
be.
Bro.
Word.
You give him a good overhead kick from the halfway line.
Oh, look at that.
That's
beauty.
Man heard
What
it
a
air
beauty.
first,
You know what I'm saying?
AniMates were trademarking that. Premier League football anime. It started here, lads. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Nah, but overall though, like just to bring it back to the whole Ruiz Joshua thing, and then we'll wrap up. It's like I'll never forget because that day, people might not remember, that was the day of the Champions League final for Liverpool. And we had won, innit? So watching that game versus Tottenham, I was happy, bro. I was gassed. Because this game was at like, 7 p.m. maybe? 5 p.m.? I can't remember when kickoff was. We won. Ecstatic.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 hours later, I'm seeing my boy Joshua losing. Yeah. So it was like, bro, it was such a juxtaposition of feelings that kind of felt like, raw. So this is how I would have felt if Tottenham had won the final and not my team.
Yeah.
It was such a... It hit home, man. I can't lie. I don't think I would have felt the same feeling if Wilder beat Fury. But when Joshua's lost to... It's like I saw Joshua in me. It's like, bro, like, we lost, bro.
Champion.
It was deep, man. It was deep.
I think that rounds it off nicely. And then also just to touch on the representation of other cultures in anime, I think a good example is like, obviously, because I can critique a little bit more Kuroko as someone who watches basketball, that watch EuroLeague and BBL, and then also NBA. So like they touch on it in Japan, but not as heavily as it actually is touched on in Japan and China. So they do bring up the shoes aspect, which is such a big thing. Such a big thing in basketball culture, but they kind of skim over it to get, you know, it's kind of like they've made way for the powers and all that stuff in the anime.
Yeah.
And taking out a lot of the real world applications that like basketball has in the world. So I guess with it's kind of hard to integrate it all into one sports, but I think it's really key because it does bring it home. It adds some more valuability, like makes it more valuable to certain people, and when they do feel the need to integrate it a bit more, it can only add to it. It can only add to it.
Do you know what was mad? Do you know what was mad as well? That I just deep, as you said, the sneakers, yeah? How sick would it be, yeah? Let's say, for example, you're watching Kuroko, yeah? And they implemented, of course, they've all got their natural abilities.
Okay.
But imagine if they implemented what you said in terms of the sneakers.
Yeah.
So, for example, one specific game, Kuroko needs to put on these specific type of sneakers, and all of a sudden, he can shoot from anywhere. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Or something like that, where you can play around.
Be
with
like
it.
Mike shoes,
Yeah,
kind of
like Mike. But then when Kuroko puts on those Phantom sneakers, it's peak, fam. But that's just an idea. That's definitely a sports anime that could be
more
based on
avenues.
sneakers.
That's like shonen and stuff,
bro. That's how to keep it
shonen
exciting. Not every day in these sports, some person's good at this one thing, another person. But I guess in real life, it is
a lot
like
of
that
it.
to
A lot
some
of it.
extent,
But the thing is, a lot of stuff in Kuroko, apart from the end, was based on a lot of real stuff. The street ball, the zone is a genuine thing. When Kobe dropped 81, you can easily say he was in the zone. They just exaggerate it to a certain extent, which is because they pull their inspiration from the real world. Fact. So yeah, they're all kind of real at the same time. But
I feel like just to finish off, there was a poll on the Instagram. If you guys don't follow the AniMates, follow AniMates on @AniMatesTV on Instagram. There's a quick poll that we did. It was the better character, Luffy or